I was gonna say Friday, Monday. Happy Monday, everyone. There's the moon, finally. It's been days. Why didn't I think of that? Look at that. I haven't plugged mine in. It's not that I forget. I'm just too lazy. But anyway, I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I made the best out of mine. I'm just gonna get right into it. Don't you all not like it when people offer to help you and then boom, they're MIA? And you're like, what? You know, and I'm beginning to think that we're better off without certain people in our life. You know, like people like that. This person, or people rather, two people. Hang on. Two people 2 weeks ago. Can't believe it's been that long. They promised. Well, they didn't say I promised. They offered. They offered their help because they saw that I needed it and I really wanted to get it done. I still do. I still want to get it done. So they're like, yeah, I know how to do all that. And girl, don't worry. I'll help you. I got you. You know, you just worry about the fees. Okay? And it's in regards to filing something. And so I'm like, all right. And 2 weeks later, and oh man, I've been slammed. I've been so busy. Sorry we haven't made it over there to your place. But we'll go on Monday. Today's Monday. No show again. Not surprised. I was not surprised. Oh, girl, I was just so busy. You know, I had this appointment earlier, which I already knew about because they said they were going to show up after their appointment. I had this appointment earlier, and I had to clean my kitchen up, yada, yada. And I'm like, what? You had all this time to clean your kitchen, and you're barely doing it on the day you said you were going to come see me? And so, you know, and tomorrow I am going to be really busy again. So maybe Wednesday we can drop by. And I'm like, sure thing, you know. And they're like, hey, so why don't you just go ahead and send me a screenshot or something of all the papers that you need to file, and maybe we could just look over them now. Sure. So in other words, you're not going to come Wednesday either. Okay. So I sent her the paperwork again. MIA. Finally texts me back. Oh, girl, I was at the Walmart. I just got back right now. But I went ahead and passed on the information to such and such. And they told me to give you their number so you can just call and talk to them. 2 weeks later. And you're barely telling me this. Why don't I just contact them? 2 weeks later. Whatever. You know, I'm so upset. This happens to be a family member, and it's she's related to my husband's side of the family. Of course. And I'm like, all right. I told him about it, and he's just like, well, maybe they're busy. Maybe they just don't have the time. Don't worry about it. They're fine. We'll figure it out on our own. Yeah, okay. That's never going to happen. And mind you, whether we move forward or not, I want to take care of this matter this year. I'm determined to take care of it this year. But anyhow, yeah, I'm just, people that have walked out of my life and people that I walked out of their life, people that walked out of my life don't seem to have any problem with it. They've gone on, they moved on, they don't give a crap. People that I've left, they still don't give a crap. They still go on with their life. They don't give a crap. They're not trying to get a hold of me by any way, means, or form, and I'm like, you know what? I'm better off without them then. I really am. If I have absolute zero friends or family, that's fine. Because it's better for me to surround myself with peace than people that are just going to continually let me down, So real quick, part 3. I want to end this already because it's been really intense. It's taken me this long to do the part 3, the finale. I'm going to call it the finale. I really don't have very much more to say about it, but yeah, my older son in that one particular room. Let me back up a bit. My sister, that used to be my sister's room at my mom's house. Remember, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. And I would sleep with my parents in my parents' room. By that point, my dad had already passed, so I was sleeping with my mom. My sister had her own room. She experienced a lot of things in that room, and I remember distinctively her saying this. So I was like, okay, there's something going on in that room. And the time that I had to move back with my mom, with my cat, I was staying in that room. I didn't experience anything in that room, paranormal I mean, and neither did my cat. We were fine. However, whenever I would be in that room alone and my mom had stepped out for the evening, I had to turn on the lights in the other side of the house because I would hear things. So now, when my children had moved with me into this other house, right, that we were renting with my husband, and there was a conflict between my older son and my husband, so my older son moved out. He moved in with his grandma. That became his room. He started to experience things, not just physically, but mentally as well. He ended up tearing that room apart. He just had this, I don't know, meltdown, I guess. And he tore that room apart. And he claimed that there was something in there. My older son ended up being in and out of mental institutes because of this. It was no longer just ADD or ADHD or what is it, defiant disorder, attention, no, what is it called? Yeah, something defiant disorder. It was no longer any of those things. This was something else. They actually had diagnosed him with schizophrenia because apparently he was hearing voices in that room, but rather than getting to the root of the problem, oh no, let's medicate him, which made him so much worse and made him addicted to those medications. And so anyhow, fast forward, things were getting a little bit better. He was still staying at grandma's, and both my mom and my older son, they told me that they were sitting at the kitchen table and they were just talking. My mom used to have this I don't know if y'all remember this like shelf where you could put your microwave on. It was separate from the kitchen counters, and she had it in the corner, and on the bottom it had 2 doors that you can open, right? And they were like French doors. Well, one of those doors was loose. It was already like on the verge of falling off. Mom never got it fixed. And they were talking, and one of those, the door that was loose, the door that was loose, it came off and flew across the room. And when they were telling me about this, I was like, no. And they were laughing about it. They're like, yeah, you know, my grandpa, my son was saying, yeah, my grandpa came to visit us. And my mom was like, it was your dad. He came to visit us. And I'm like, my dad wasn't a violent person. Why would he throw something across the room? And I'm like, no, I don't think that was dad, you know? And after that incident, my son had gone to prison for a while for something, you know, pharmaceuticals, and my mom ended up in the hospital for the first time. That wasn't the second time when she passed away, the first time. She ended up in the hospital for the first time, and I would go by the house to go clean. And I was in that room. It was a complete mess. I was in that room. My brother was going to go by to see if he can fix drywall, you know, the walls everywhere that my son destroyed. And that room was completely empty. There was nothing in there. There was no bed, nothing except for a little table with a book that my son found in the alley. And it was, and you're going to think I'm crazy, but it was a Lady Gaga book. You open that book, and it had all kinds of weird pictures in there, all kinds of just like satanic stuff. I'm not kidding you. When they say that Lady Gaga is into this, she really is. She really is. It's all in her book. And I can't remember the name of the book, but it was all there. And I just remember I had like gotten one of the grocery store bags and I hung it on the door. And I was throwing cans in there, you know, cans of soda that were left behind by my son, and, you know, other trash that was on the floor before I swept it. And I stepped away from that room and I went to go sweep the other rooms before I came back to this one. While I was in the other room, I suddenly heard a can on the floor, like somebody threw it. And I was like, okay, maybe one of the cans, maybe the bag was just too full and one of the cans just fell out. And so I went to go check. And yeah, sure enough, there was a can on the floor, but it was away from the bag. It wasn't like right underneath the bag, like where it would have fallen. And I know some people might say like, oh, maybe it rolled over there, you know, to where it was and not directly under the bag. That's a possibility. I don't know. I can't tell you, but I just know that it freaked me out. And all I said was, okay, and I picked up the can up again and I put it in the bag. And then I turned around and I looked at the bag again. And I finally decided, okay, I'm taking this bag away, and I put it in the main trash with everything else. And I just finished working in there. There was always an uneasiness in this house, always. I don't know if my nephew, who now lives in there, because long story short, my sister ended up buying the house and she gave it to my nephew. They fixed it up. They kind of like tore it apart and fixed it all up, and it looks really nice. I was in there. you know, my nephew showed me around. That's the only time I can go there now is if my nephew's home and I happen to stop by for a visit, which hasn't been in years. But the time that he was showing me around, it was still very eerie. And I did not feel comfortable one bit, not even in the backyard. More importantly, the garage. He gutted it out. He fixed it up, you know, really nice. He left the bathroom area in there. And I couldn't set foot in that garage. I just couldn't. I just looked at it and I'm like, oh wow, you know, you really changed things. That's nice. You know, it looks good. But I couldn't step in there. I still felt a presence there. Anytime that I pass by my mom's house, it's never a good feeling. Never. It just looks so dark to me still. Even though they painted the house a different color, I know that it's different inside, it's still really dark. It holds so many memories in there that we all went through. And we all had some kind of experience there. And I'm not talking about just paranormal. I'm talking about even mentally. A breakdown of some sort. And I guess it's just never going to be like talked about in my family ever again. And I need closure because I'm still having some breakdowns every now and then where a memory will come up, not just of what I went through in that house with my family, with my mom. Wow, a memory just popped in right now. Ugh, and it wasn't a good one. But even with my husband, he and I have been through a lot, and for some reason, for the past couple of weeks already, all these memories are coming up again. And I feel like I have a lot of unresolved issues with not just my family, but my husband and even myself. I feel like I have no peace. And no matter how much my husband wants me to move on, forget the past, telling me that is not making it any better. It's not like a switch where I can switch it off and on. And I think that that's been the major problem, is pushing it down and thinking, okay, it's gone. No. It keeps coming up, and it's going to keep coming up until I get closure. But here's the thing, I'm never going to get it. My family refuses to get together and talk about anything. My parents, both my parents are gone. The only thing that I can do, which ChatGPT suggested this, is to write a letter to my mom. I have no beef with my dad. He loved me so much. My mom is the one that I have beef with. And even though, like I've said before, I thought I had forgiven her for everything, I haven't. But in this letter, it suggested that I write what I haven't forgiven her for and leave it there with her. I'm giving it back to her. But at the same time, I will forgive her at that moment. And hopefully this will finally be the end. Hopefully she won't come and haunt me anymore with memories or in my dreams. I had a dream about her early this morning while waking up. I did not like that dream. In any dream that I have about her, I'm always arguing with her. She's always overpowering me. I'm always crying. It's just never a good dream. Never. But like I said, I have no beef with my dad. The only man that I know is my dad. Okay, I've never seen a pigeon out at night. That is strange to me. You want me to show you all real quick? Look. I was wondering what it was doing. They're usually up there. You see that one right there? And this is the first time I ever see that one come out and walk on the, what is that, the roof? I don't know. But anyhow, yeah, so I know that my brothers and my sister, they're carrying something with them too, but somehow they're able to just like hide it, I guess. Or maybe they just did a really good job of suppressing it, that it has not come back up with them. But it will eventually. We had all said we were going to get together. And this was years back. My mom passed in 2020. We said it since then. We need to get together and talk. The one it needs to come from is my older brother. He hasn't made the effort. I have tried, but my other siblings will not listen to me. It has to come from my older brother. They have a bond. I'm the black sheep of this family. It's my older brother, the middle brother who passed, my younger brother of the brothers, then my sister, and then me. And my sister and I are 12 years apart. We already know why. But they've always had this special bond. And then there was me. And it's still like that till this day. So that's why I'm saying, regardless if I go to them and I say, hey, let's get together, let's talk, they're not going to do it because it's not coming from one of them. It sucks, but that's the way it is. That's something I learned to accept. So I need to find closure for myself. I need to move on from this nightmare and finally bury it. And once I'm done with that journey, then begins the journey with my husband, where I need to take those bad memories that he left me with and bury those as well. I have tried to talk to my husband as well about everything, and it's the same result. It's the same results as my family, my siblings. They did nothing wrong. They know nothing. It's all me. It's all you, Moon. We're good. It's just you. You're the one with the mental issues, not us. That's real hard to live with. And it's a lot of a burden to carry. Especially for one person. Especially when you're trying so hard to get better. And I feel like I've already allowed all of these people to take up so many years of my life And I lost all of those years. And now I need to gain it back. I can't get those years back, but I need to gain my power back. So with that said, I'm sorry if I disappointed anybody. I didn't go into more detail. I just can't. But I just wanted to give you hope. If you have your own ghosts of your past that are haunting you to this day, that we can move forward. We are strong. We're stronger than we realize. And we have to keep lifting each other up, even as strangers. So I love you all. Lots of love, hugs, and prayers. And thank you for listening. Bye.